All right, we are live Saturday. We got a full house, and I see a lot of people tuning in from Simon, the Uneducated Economist's live stream. So thanks, Hyder. I think you're directing them this way. So yeah, like Simon is mentioning, Hyder's mentioning, we are kind of a real estate financial freedom. But today we're going to have a lot of short-term rental and kind of dealing with the chaos in real estate going on right now. So morning to everyone, or afternoon for some of you. We got Ray. We got three Chris's on today, so it might be confusing a little bit, but. We got Chris Wissing on and Chris Price, who are new to the channel. So maybe quickly, you guys can introduce yourself real quick. So Chris Price, go first.
I live in Washington State currently. I have a full-time job. I'm in all of Washington State, northern Idaho, and Alaska for medical sales. And I started about 2 years ago a property management company for short-term rentals. We've got 13 properties right now. 11 are live, and I manage mostly in the downtown area, up in the Cascades, and also in San Diego. I'm actually at the San Diego property trying to get it live right now. So
Nice.
Very cool. Wissing, your turn, real quick.
Hey, I'm Chris Wissing. I live in North Coast of California, just outside of Eureka. Heavy equipment mechanic. Been a mechanic all my life. Got into real estate investing a few years back, and just do everything locally. Single dad, do a lot of the work myself, and just doing the grind.
All right, very cool. Good to have you back on. I know you are starting your YouTube channel also. So, those of you, if you can, Chris's YouTube channel is in the chat. So go over there, jump over, subscribe also. And we also have Ray, What Pros Do, with his YouTube channel, and Chris Econ Web. So morning, everyone. Chris Wissing, real quickly, I think you are the one. You're working on a project. So if anyone checks out your social media handles, you have like a project you're working on, rehab. But there's also a lot of chaos kind of going in the real estate space right now, I would say, right? I think a lot of people, high prices, high rates, even a 50 mortgage rate coming out. But what are you dealing with in your rehab and real estate right now?
So I do full rehabs on my places. So sometimes it's a little bit different game. And I'm actually running. I just finished up one place, and I've got permitted to do an ADU here. I got the permits 2 weeks ago, so I'm kicking the doors open on that here. Probably I think this week we're actually going to start demo, and then I'm also working on my place. So it's just a mixed bag of everything right now going on. Um, it of course right now is not the best time to find tenants. They don't want to move. Rainy season. We don't get the snow and the cold like a lot of other places do, but we do get the torrential downpours, and people don't want to move. Our economy is a little different here, so people are just kind of tightening up. And then add in the holidays. So I picked the best time to fly a place to get it listed, but it just helps you tighten your system and do the proper work. So we're just trying different things and seeing what we can do.
So is Wissing the only one facing some challenges right now? So like Ray, I know you're big in the short-term rental space, and also Chris Price, but how is it for you guys? I guess bookings, and are you facing the same type of challenges that Wissing and maybe the rest of us are facing?
I'll let Chris go first. Chris, you want to go first?
yeah, I mean, depending on the market you're in with short-term rentals, you could either be going into the into a busier season if you're a mountain property with the ski season kind of kicking up. Most of my properties, including the San Diego one, there is a little bit of a dip. I would say this year it's year over year, we're definitely seeing some decline. But I think a lot of the decline really comes down to like who's your competition and why are maybe they getting booked over your property. That to me, a lot of that really goes into knowing the guest avatar that's coming to the property and designing it right for them. And then continually tweaking it. People, 3, 4 years ago, you could put up a 3, 4 bedroom property in Seattle or in most markets that do well. And people, even during COVID, would, love the idea of a whole family coming to a property and they would pay the money. Now you've got an influx of properties, and then you've got people like me and others that are coming up with a unique design for the property, adding saunas, adding hot tubs, being really unique. And people, don't want just a place to stay anymore. It's not just, oh, we have a washer and dryer, we have a full kitchen, we can have everybody under one roof. Now it's really selling the experience. And I think what's happening is the people that aren't doing that, or aren't continually reinvesting back into the property each year, those are the ones that are kind of falling off. So I think right now, I've got a few properties that are, I wouldn't say hurting, but are definitely not as great as they were last year. And we're tweaking things here and there. It also comes down to understanding your prices. Like, we just had the new Airbnb, especially if you're only on Airbnb, they just changed the rules, and no longer are they charging the guests, the 12%, and us 3%. They're charging us the whole 15%. So your pricing previously, you would think, oh, well, this is the price that I'm at. So I think pricing is taking a big dip. I think the people that didn't change that for, the last couple of weeks when Airbnb rolled it out in October, what's happening is those properties are probably getting booked, but they're getting booked way less because they don't realize that Airbnb is charging you, that extra 12%, now. So I think it's just, continually staying up to date on what's happening in the market and being, proactive. It's not like set it and forget it like it used to be. So.
Go ahead. I know Ray has something to say probably, but
Yeah.
I think Ray needed some backup. That's why, because a lot of people in our kind of maybe one rental at a time, or Coach Carson, Small and Mighty, is always saying Airbnb short-term rental is dead, right? And Ray is always pushing back, and Ray is fighting, and Ray is sticking up for it. So Ray, what else do you want to say about it?
Well, for everybody who doesn't know, Chris and I work really closely together. I take a lot of photos for his, short-term rentals. But I also have a really cool perspective, right? I'm in the real estate business where I'm capturing a lot of these homes, and I get a lot of the information that a lot of people wouldn't get otherwise, right? Like, for example, I talk to homeowners. I ask them, why are you selling your home, as I'm taking photo and video production of their property, right? And I will tell you, what I've seen is a huge influx in my area of duplexes, multifamilies, and that's not something that I've seen a huge volume of, but it seems like as of recently it's been changing. But also, when I'm talking to homeowners who have investment properties, I'm seeing a lot of tired landlords, right? And these are a lot of the properties that I'm shooting, and I'm asking the questions, and it seems to be that they're having troubles, and instead of dealing with the problems, they're just offloading the properties. So I think this is something I'm noticing and I'm taking note of. But I also think it's a possibility for opportunity, right? When we are in a market like this where people are struggling, we got tired landlords who maybe weren't operating things correctly. This is the time that we could potentially get our deals. So I'm always, I tend to be very positive. And if there's something I can't control in my portfolio, I look for things that I can pivot towards to make things either more profitable or more efficient.
Webb, I thought I saw you shaking your head when I was saying short-term rental Airbnbs are dead. You don't believe in that?
I don't believe in that. I believe short-term rentals are dead on like 15th Street back in Plano, Texas, but in a mountain or on the beach or even in close proximity to the beach, they're absolutely not dead. I don't think they ever will be. I think we didn't call them short-term rentals 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
We called them vacation homes. And I think that when Airbnb came about, I remember people buying tract homes in Tucson and putting them up for short-term rentals. People, I don't think, are interested in that right now. I think that people are still interested in the great properties that you can establish as a vacation rental. And I think that Ray hit on the head with the tired landlords. It's a perfect opportunity. And one thing I remember when I was, I had a guy one time, he was asking me, he's like, Chris, how do you earn a lot of cash? And I said, you gotta sell to people's wants, not their needs. But if you can talk to them and say, hey, I know you got a property over here. What do you want? Like, what do you want with that? And if they're like, oh, well, I just want some continuous bookings and things like that, it's kind of like you want cash coming in every month. Is that right? Yes. Well, what if I can make that happen? And I think that Ray, you're right on target there. The opportunity is there, and right now is probably the best time to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Wissing, any thoughts of you stepping into the short-term rental space? I know your area that you're in is very challenging, possibly for that, right? But does that ever cross your mind?
You know, it's always, there's always the thoughts of something, because you're always looking for that next thing, always looking for how do you make the most money? How do you get in on the next shiny object? But how many directions can I get pulled at one time? And right now, with everything else that I've got going on, just in personal life, work, kids, all the rentals, renovating. Now I've got to learn something new, and I think with the short-term stuff, I'm going to be starting all over again.
Yeah.
I'm just now getting comfortable with my systems and stuff, and now starting to tweak and tune where I'm at. So, and I talked to Ray last year at the ORAD event a little bit, and yeah, it's exciting, and hearing you guys talk, and you all have that thing of, it's a great experience. But for me right now, I'm just going to hold on tight and stick to my long term and just focus on that and just control what I can control.
Yasik does say, in my opinion, they're dead for the easy money, but not for those that know how to pivot and adopt.
I think that's the entire market itself.
Yeah, I agree. Regardless if it's a mountain or downtown, I think, Webb, you mentioned it, like the term short-term rentals has only come around recently. I remember growing up, and I'm 41. I remember growing up, and we rented a house in Maryland on the water, and we rented it from a family, and it was on some random website, and we used to do that every year. We used to go, we would crab in, and I grew up in Philly, so like this is, it's not like short-term rentals I know are dead. It's just like you said, it's like those that aren't pivoting and adding, amenities in. And honestly, it's just like anything. Like, what's my competition doing? And Webb, you also said the same thing. Sell to the emotion. Like, I think, being in sales myself, I take that to heart. And it's like, who is coming to this property? Like, if it's not a want, it's if I can sell to someone's emotion, you're gonna get, build that trust so much faster. Like this property, for example, is in San Diego, and it's should be doing great. And one thing that we're tweaking now is we're putting a bigger couch in there. It's a smaller 4-bedroom, 1,450 square foot home. The owners put a pool, a hot tub in the backyard, turf, and they spent a lot of money, probably over $200K in the renovations after they purchased the home. The problem was the couch could only fit about 4 people, and you can sleep 10. So, those are things we've talked about in the beginning, but they were like, no, let's do it. And I, now looking back, 3 months in, we're buying a new couch, trying to sell the $2,000 couch we bought. So it's like continually trying to tweak. And if you're not doing that, and if you're not looking at the reviews, then you're just going to fall.
And if I can actually jump in there, I think what you're doing is because you were talking about earlier, you're talking about what the other property owners are doing as well. And you guys are competing for that emotion from the renters,
Mm-hmm.
from the customers.
Mm-hmm.
And that is basically, that's supply and demand in a nutshell.
Yeah.
We are always competing. I do believe the market for short-term rentals is a little more competitive, maybe not as much as it was 3 or 4 years ago. But with all that being said, some people don't know, I don't have any short-term rentals. I'm a buy and hold guy, but I can kind of read the market and see where things are going. I can tell you that close to some of my buy and hold homes, there were short-term rentals, and now they're for sale. So do the math.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
No, I just wanted to add, right? Like, I think as far as what Chris Wissing was saying, was he was saying something in regards to just like it wasn't the right time for him to be getting into Airbnbs. And I feel like nobody should ever be pressured into a strategy, right? Like I feel like you need to take that strategy, do your research, but I always say keep an open door, right? Once again, that's the
For sure.
optimistic side of me always thinking about it, because I was a lot like you, Chris, Wissing. I was always thinking, oh, long term is going to be the way to go, right? Until I met someone like Chris Price and other short term rental people. And I really started peeking through that door and just trying to see what that was all about. And the returns I'm getting now are just incredible. And I'm so happy that I did it. But I also know that it takes work. And you're going to have to put in some time, effort, and money to get it done. And I think there's a time and place to do that for everybody's portfolio. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Totally
I
agree.
do want to get to one of the questions in the chat by a new, hopefully subscriber. But Bill, he's saying, look, I think he said he was in Texas, but he says several junk homes in my neighborhood for $250K just sitting there. What's the chance these will become affordable fixer uppers? Like, hard to determine that, but I mean, maybe what approach would you guys say that he maybe take to try and see how available this property is? Any thoughts or suggestions? Maybe Wissing, you have any thoughts how you can approach the owner or find who the owner is?
Sometimes it's just start asking the question. Find, start in one spot, start with one house, see either who owns it, is it listed, who's got control of it. Try and get it before a wholesaler does. It's just you got to start in one spot and exhaust your resources. If you're not getting the results that you want from that one, start talking to more people, get in networks like this, start asking more questions. How can you get in there? And then, with the timing and research, you get to throw that offer in there that works for you.
Anybody else? Thoughts, suggestions? Help Bill out?
Well, I've done fixers, but I never really sell my property, so I just fix them up, and I do either long-term rental or a short-term rental. But as far as for me, when it's about finding deals, it's about getting there, meeting people in person, because generally those are how deals are done, right? Like for me, I've done seller finance deals, and I've always felt like the best way to kind of close those deals is to really understand their pain points. And once you understand their pain points, you can see if there's a solution that helps the both of you.
yeah.
And I'll just say, this is kind of an idea that I don't do this, but this is an idea that I would do if I were looking at something similar to this. I would try to find these owners using, what was the skip trace guy that we had the other day?
So I had Faisal from Pinpoint
Yeah,
Skip
Faisal's
on yesterday.
Yeah. And I would find the owner, and hopefully they're still in town. And I would go to their neighborhood and see a house in their neighborhood and just walk the street, and hopefully they're around, and maybe even door knock and say, hey, do you know how much that house across the street is? And they're like, oh, you're looking to move in? Oh, I'm looking for it as a rental. It might be out of my price range. And they say, oh, well, I have one for sale 3 neighborhoods down. And you go, oh, really? Well, let me go take a look at that one. You got to be strategic. I mean, you're right. The deals are made in person, in my opinion, but you can force that meeting.
Yes.
Yeah. I do that a little bit with short-term and also a little bit different technique, but like you said, be different, be unique, be strategic. I've got a property that I'm trying to manage that the owner's, managing herself, having a hard time. It's on Vashon Island, beautiful property. My next approach is to go to the property, and I've done this with another property, and take a picture in front of it, and then either email it to them or send it to a letter, being like, your property's doing this. I believe it could do this. Let's jump on a call. It's a little bit more personal. Maybe some people think that's a little bit more, intrusive, but again, you're thinking outside the box. Everyone's sending a letter. Everyone's, trying to call them, what's going to catch their eye. And like Ray said, find out their pain points. I think that's huge. Pace Morby talks about find the bunnies, and it's true. It's like find that thing that is their pain point for holding on to. It's because of this. Well, if you can solve that for them, they're more apt to be like, okay, yes, I'll sell it.
I do see this question from Remember When You Vote, or not really a question, but like we were talking, maybe the initial intro for the chat was kind of around the chaos in real estate and whatnot, all the noise out there. But Remember When You Vote says, wait until it pops. Cash will be king soon, like 2009. I'm not sure if they're referring specifically to short-term rental or just maybe real estate or the economy in general. Webb, any thoughts on that?
I'm just curious if he thinks the dollar has lost value since 1971, which a lot of people do. And if that's the case, how is it going to be king?
My input is this, right? I think everybody is waiting for the pop. Guys, it's now.
Yeah, you got.
Are you kidding me? Like just look around. Like, you got your tired landlords, you got everybody stressed out, everybody's kind of pulling back. Just look at your agents. Look at the agents in your market and see how well they're doing, right? And that just kind of shows you how many listings are sitting on the market. If you're looking for a time to buy, oh my God, I wish I had, like, if I was in the opportunity to be buying right now, this would be where I'd be getting deals. You know what I mean? And I'm seeing it every day as I'm working and meeting owners and just kind of listening to them in my market. And I just keep getting excited because I'm like, man, this is the pop. If you're looking for one, we're in it.
Yeah.
You have to think forward. If things start working in the background, is the economy going to tank or is it going to explode? My opinion is it's going to explode. And we're still in that time where people are fearful. Like you said, they're holding their wallet, they're not spending. Once they realize that, some prices they're not down, but they're not going up. And my salary may not be as high as I would like it, but it is relatively higher than it was a couple of years ago. They're going to spend again, and that's going to break. And then the demand will start kicking, which will start building those transactions. We're going to start seeing that GDP increase. It's just an opinion of mine, but I think that we're in for a pretty good 26.
You guys ever heard the term of when people start FOMOing into like a stock or something like that, right? They see that like GameStop went up, right? And then when the masses finally find out that GameStop is going up, you've already like lost the advantage. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think that's what people talk about when they are looking for the pop. They want the masses to know that the pop is there. That's not when you want to be getting in. You know what I mean? So I just want to let people know that, like, you want to always be ahead of the curve. And, I think there's indicators right now that you could be looking at that kind of shows you that's what's happening.
Okay.
Well, a lot of people are sitting there waiting for this pop and waiting for, they keep talking about how the prices are going to crash just like it was 2009. That's not going to happen. If it does, there's a whole lot more hurt that's going to be going on. But those people that are waiting for that to happen, they're already behind. They're not going to catch that wave when it happens. They're going to be so unprepared unless they've been somehow magically figuring out that it's going to happen and they have stacked up enough money to pounce on it, at that right time. There's very few people that can actually do that. And by that, they're just lucky.
All right, let's kind of follow up on this topic. Seems to be getting a lot of discussion in the chat right now. So All Nighter Hider does say dollar is king compared to other currencies, but not commodities, in my opinion.
And I would even say assets, which is why you want to own assets.
Remember When You Vote says remember 2009. I think Wissing did mention 2009. He also adds angel liquidity returns to the markets. I believe things will continue down. And he added in, oh, no. Bill adds in, I can totally see the bubble popping. But for example, a particular 2-bedroom, 1-bath with asbestos siding, leaking roof, and a sheetrock damage is $250K. How do you come down from there without insulting seller? Okay.
For me, I would state the facts. If that's the facts, let them know, and then give them the number that you feel comfortable with. Like I think people need to get hit with reality.
I think where did he put it? Hyder did say Ray is talking. Where did he put it? First, where did he? Oh, here. Ray is talking about first mover advantage, and I think if people didn't see Dion the other day, kind of debating with Brandon Potts about the 50-year mortgage and the talk of that, I think that's where Dion is really coming from, right? Where there's going to be this window of opportunity, and where the 50-year mortgage is going to allow certain people to get in. And if you're ready to take advantage, right, put yourself in position that you're going to reap the benefits of this possible 50-year mortgage that does come into play. Did you guys want to touch anything on the 50-year mortgage, any other short-term rental? Where do you guys want to direct this right now?
Well, I had a question for Chris Wessing. Chris, I know you do a lot of rehabs, right? And are you doing also ground up builds over there in California?
No, so what I've done on the last few houses, they're run down. The last three that I've done have been old drug houses, and so I had one of them that was and Oshiro has seen some of the tales on this one when we first met, but yeah, that first one, it was a 17-year hoarder in it, and the place was absolutely destroyed. Nobody wanted it. So I went in, and this was just right during COVID. Everything for me kind of aligned. But uh, this one that I'm doing now, or that I just finished up, was another one. It was an abandoned drug house, and luckily I got in before it got completely destroyed, but it needed a full redo. But the ground up that I'm doing, not quite a ground up, but I'm converting a shop on the property into an ADU. So I'm going to go in, we're going to keep the skeleton of it, but we're going to gut it out inside. And I've got to go in, cut in for all the plumbing, electrical, and start over. So I'm just not putting the exterior up on it.
Mhm.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, we're doing all of it.
And are these burrs that you're doing, or are they flips, or are you long term holding these? Like, what are you doing with them?
Right now I'm doing everything long-term hold. I keep my options open. If something comes up where it's an option to flip it, I will. But right now I'm trying to build the rental portfolio. I'll go in on this one that I'm doing after I'm done with the ADU, then I'll go back in and refinance it, and pull the money and go look for the next one.
I think that's one of the biggest issues that I've had, right? Like I'll do these huge rehabs on these properties, but then all my money is kind of trapped and stuck in that property. And now I don't regret it, because my goal with real estate is long-term wealth, but you do lose liquidity and you run out of money. so
Right.
so that's why I feel like, for me, I wait every couple of years and then I try to buy another property. Is that kind of your strategy too?
And that's kind of where I'm at now. And it just, like, when I got into this one, it kind of worked. Where it had the shop on the property already, and it had enough work that was already done to the house um, by the previous owners, where it had a good foundation to it. And so I was able to just kind of pivot with what was there. And then I started asking questions, and I started uh, getting people involved. And what are my options? What are my choices? And next thing you know, I've got permits in hand. And yeah, so it started out where I was taking either borrowing or cashing out retirement funds, doing that whole play, kind of like what Dion did. Um, Mark's been down that road. And now I'm starting to look at what are some of my options, because one of the houses that is one of my rentals, it was my original one, but that was my first house that I bought in my 20s. And I just was able to keep it, turned it into a rental. And now what's my option with it? Do I refinance it? Do I 1031 it? So now I'm starting to look at some of those things depending on how I want to accelerate the growth. And so now we're just seeing what's out there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can relate. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us kind of do exactly what you're doing there. And do you find that your properties over there, are they cash flowing? Like the ones that you bought recently, are they cash flowing, or is this more of like a long-term play for you? Like, what do you think?
Everything's cash flowing and is doing well. My goal is to have each one kind of as its own entity, where it takes care of itself. So it takes care of its own payments, maintenance, all that stuff. I don't roll over and lump one into the other. But what they've also done is all those properties have paid for rent as well. So I will live in my house, have mortgage covered.
You're getting
they're all
censored in
still
California right now,
taking care of
man.
themselves.
California is censoring you right now. No, you're cutting in and out. I think you're better now, though. But
Yeah, you guys locked up.
Chris Price. Yeah. See, Chris Price. So, I mean, how often do you talk to your owners? I mean, about the short-term rental side, though. I mean, do you see any of them panicking, or like, would that be a good way for like other investors maybe to talk to people like you that are managing other people's properties in a sense?
Yeah, we've had a few owners recently reach out. I think one specifically that, I mean, we know like you make money when you buy a property, not when you sell it. And I think some of these owners bought it as a 5% down, and they're trying to make more money versus the again, it's two townhomes next to each other. One of them bought it, I think he bought 25% in. The other one lived in it for a year and turned it to an Airbnb. He's like, I'm not, I'm not making enough money. I'm like, you're actually, you're a guest favorite, you're a top 10%, like you're doing 93K for a 3-bedroom downtown Seattle. You're not actually, we're doing really good compared to the competition. So I think it's really based off the owners where they're at with the property. So you're buying it now. This one owner bought it 2 years ago. So we've definitely had some owners that have are a little shaky. I think we looked at a couple of them and we reinvested a few things like a sauna or hot tub, where like, hey, well, again, looking at the competition, saying, what are they doing? Let's kind of base it off of that and, add some new amenities. I don't take any property on that doesn't do some form of a redesign. Most of the properties that are coming to me from the bigger property management companies, oh, well, we used to do great 2-3 years ago. I'm hurting. Right. Well, 2-3 years ago, it didn't matter that you didn't have a design. Then, unfortunately for me, like you got companies like myself and others that are coming up with a unique experience. And again, when you go on vacation, 70 to 80% of the time, it's the female of the group booking the property, the girlfriend, the wife, the mom. And they want to know that when they come there, like 8 people can sit at the dining room table if there's 8 guests, and there's people that don't realize that. And it's really like, trying to explain to them like, hey, happy to take on your property, but here's what you need to do to be successful in this market, and beat the competition. So I've definitely seen owners that, see that. Some of them don't, but still agree to, spend some money on the property. I've actually turned down more clients than I've taken on, a good bit more, because they're like, no, well, I think it's just a pricing thing, or it's this because it was there before. So it's the education piece, I think, at the end of the day, really explaining that, to do well, whether you're trying to, thinking about what's flipping to long term is never going to be as good as short term in most markets, I would say. It also depends on the property. Your cabin properties, you're going to do, people want to escape. Even in Seattle, when you have the gray rain, they want to escape to the mountains, even if it's, crappy outside. Downtown properties are going to take a hit, but you just got to really focus on that design at the end of the day for these clients.
One thing I think you need to start doing is asking them how much they owe on the mortgage, so that in a few years, after they decide to go with somebody else, you can call them back and say, "Hey, are you still making enough money on that, or do you want to sell it?" And you can go in and do the redesign and own it yourself.
Yeah, thankfully, I mean, the clients that come with me, besides one of them that was, they were using it more like 60% or 50% of the time. That didn't make sense, for how our model works of full property management. So a lot of our owners, like when they come to us, when we do the redesign, they're like, not only are they making more money, or they're hitting their numbers, the property's taken care of, it's not having a problem. So, and they're doing way better. So thankfully we haven't had anybody leave from our management. I think that just goes to show that like we are very specific and strategic about the clients that are on board.
I think I meant the ones that you choose not to use. And when they go with another people, you call them up a couple of years and say, "Hey, if you're looking to sell, I'm buying."
Yeah, not a bad idea.
It's kind of like, though, you reminded me of resale agents that I talk to who say, "Well, they said that the house down the street sold 2 years ago for this.
Yeah.
And it had a redone kitchen, redone bathroom." And I tell them, "Well, that had a redone kitchen, a redone bathroom. You have to redo this in order to do that, to get to that price point." And even so, that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And you have to coach up the people, because people have old memories and they think that it's similar to today. But at the beginning of the year, eggs were $10. Now they're like $3. We think that homes don't play a role as well in the prices.
Yeah, no, you're right. 1,000%.
They fluctuate.
That sentiment is there where it's like, oh, well, this neighbor did this. Okay, well, again, look at your competition. What do they have? What do you have? Well, it's the same with similar square footage, right? But like they've got granite countertops, they've got a completely redone kitchen and bathroom, which is the most of the remodel, in my opinion. I mean,
right.
So yeah, I agree. 100%.
So anyone here listening, I did put Ray's What Pros Do YouTube channel in here, and also his Instagram if you want to connect with him. And also Chris Price's Instagram page if you want to know more about short-term rentals, bookings, things like that. And also Chris Wissing's new YouTube channel. So go check that out. Does anyone want to tackle remember when you vote question of why would anybody use a 50-year mortgage?
I would say the same about a 30 and a 15. I mean, it's individual choice. So if you guys don't mind, I'll bring in some economics into this. There, a lot of times when we look at economics, we talk about people's wants. Well, wants are subjective. If people want to buy a house with a 50-year mortgage, they have their own internal understanding of why they're going to act that way. That's microeconomics 101. So it falls on the individual.
Yeah, I'll second that. I agree with that.
Because you know what else I would say about that quick is you hear a lot of young investors, if you go to real estate meetups, and they say, why would an owner sell at 40% to a We Buy Homes person? Why would they do that? I mean, it's the same question, but on a different side. The 50-year mortgage is on the demand side, whereas the 40% off wholesaler buying it is on the supply side. People have different preferences for what they want to do with their lives.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Wissing, would you do a 50-year?
I got to look at how it works. I mean, it doesn't change my fundamentals on this. It's just, I don't care if it's 30-year, I don't care if it's 50-year, 15, 20, whatever it is. You still got to buy it right. You got to renovate it smart. And then you can cash flow it, if that's what you're doing. If you're buying it for your own primary, well, it's got to work for you. I mean, if people are buying just to buy, hopefully they've got it figured out. We're going to see what happens, when it comes out, if it comes out.
Right.
There's so much of this going on right now we just don't know all the details on it yet. And who are they going to actually appeal to? And,
Mm-hmm.
is it going to appeal to the first time home buyer first? Is it going to appeal to investors? I mean, as an investor, yeah, if your numbers are making sense, and it's a smart money move. But it comes down, like I said, it's an individual thing.
And if I can add to that too, everybody thinks that a 50-year mortgage will only be paid off when you make the final payment, as if they won't sell the house, and move to a different one, and maybe get a 30-year mortgage the next time. I mean,
Yeah.
when the 30-year mortgage was introduced, I'm sure the same questions that we're having today, they had then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and how many people are gonna? Maybe it's their entry. Like I said, it's their entry level to get them in the house. 10 years down the road, maybe everything's better, and either they move on, they refinance, they all of a sudden, it's like, yeah, I can refinance it to a cheaper rate and a shorter term
Mm-hmm.
and save money because I got enough equity built up. There's a lot of factors to it. It's not just
Right.
this core 50-year. People are thinking, God, I'm going to be dead by the time it gets paid off, or I might as well give it to my let my grandkids sign the dotted line. That's just not what it's about. I remember when I bought my first house in my 20s, I was like, oh my God, a 30-year mortgage? I'm going to be like almost retired. And it's not that way.
Right.
Bill says, so what about the tax value? My neighbor's house, his mom owns it, has a tax value of $200K and the floor is wonky. Needs totally redone or torn down. How does one combat that?
Is he trying to reach out to them, or is it for sale? So, because I know somebody who reached out to somebody and said, hey, would you sell your property? And the guy said, well, what would you buy it for? And he said, the assessed value from the assessor's website is this. And he said, I'll take that. And it was probably 50% below what market rate was.
Paul Rink. Hey, Paul, haven't seen you in a while. Hopefully you'll be in Vegas. I know you was there the first year. But he does say, I'll take a 50-year mortgage all day if it can boost my cash flow. Investor viewpoint, though, not primary. Yeah. Hey, Jen Tam is here. Jen might be shy. She may not submit her question. I don't know if she really has a question, but she did message me earlier.
I have a question for Jen, actually.
Go.
Do you think that the five of us on screen could compete with the Backstreet Boys?
So Chris Price may not know, or even Wisting may not know. So Chris, for the One Rental at a Time event in Vegas in February, that weekend the Backstreet Boys are actually performing. So there's a group that are coming together. I think they're going to try and attend the Backstreet Boys event, and Jen is one of them. Harrison's wife is also going, and maybe some other people. Good
Lord.
But Jen has an Airbnb. So she's in California also, but she has an Airbnb in Texas. But she seems to be having a bit of issues every time with guests trying to get money from her, whether it's not liking their stay or saying something wasn't as maybe in the listing and things like that. Do you notice that quite a bit with your properties that you manage, Chris Price?
We've had some here and there. I feel like because we've been doing it for the last couple of years, we have an idea of when a guest is going to, just by what they're saying in the beginning, like they're requesting to book. You can kind of see a trend going to some degree. Sometimes you can't even see it, and they just either they check out or about to check out, and they say, this is the 4 things that was the problem. It's like, oh, you didn't bring them up. So there are ways to combat either side of it. But it just depends on the situation, and Jen, if you want to shoot me your listing, happy to, jump on a call with you and we can run down. Maybe I can look at the comments, or the from the guests, as well as, if there's a specific situation, happy to help out in any way that I can, because I would say it's specific to the situation. We did have one guest that I think she was like saying, oh, this is broken, this messed up. And they did ask for a discount. Now, when you look at Airbnb's rules, give you an example. We have a 3-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 3-bath townhouse in downtown Seattle that has a rooftop hot tub. They are inflatable, but they work great when they work. Usually never have issues. We just have to make sure we have our team in there once a week to service them. Now, I think it was a power surge or a power outage, and it wasn't hot when she first got there. And the guest was complaining and saying, I want my first day refunded. This is the reason why we booked the property. And then I think the idea is, you have to see, what does Airbnb's rules say? Like, what refund will Airbnb give? Because if there is an issue with a major amenity, hot tub being it, they consider heat and AC sometimes a major amenity. Whatever you're saying is like, the big parts of them coming to the property, it has to be a major amenity. They will, if it's out for one day, Airbnb will give 33% of, or 30% of the first, or the affected night. So for example, let's say for the first 2 nights, that hot tub was out and they couldn't use it, and it was good the last 3 nights. So basically Airbnb will award them, if they go to Airbnb, 30% for 2 nights. So sometimes, it's really good to know what are the rules that, you can fight with, because we've had people say, I want 50%. And they don't always have to provide proof, but we try to go to Airbnb right away before they do, hopefully, and say, hey, this is what the guest's saying. They don't have proof. We're happy to work with them. And usually when you start the conversation, it's better versus if the guest starts it. That's one thing we've noticed recently. But again, Airbnb will always, for the most part, unfortunately, side with the guest. So sometimes you have to take it on the chin. But if you do it in the right way, or if guests are, I don't want to say threatening, but saying, hey, like, this is what's wrong, and, I want a refund. A great question to ask. You can phrase it how you want, but I've said, I'm so sorry. You're working with this. Are you saying that, you're going to leave us a bad review if we don't give you a refund? If they kind of hint to that, that's retaliation. And you can basically, if they do leave you a bad review, you can get that removed. It is entrapment, but you can ask the question in a way where you're saying, are you saying that you're going to do this if we don't give you a refund? And, we've taught our team to say the right things. So we've gotten a few reviews removed because the guest is like, if this is not taken care of, like, this is ruining our, yes, absolutely. So we go through the process and we say, look, we wait till they leave the review and we go to Airbnb, but it just depends on the situation. And it's a lot. You kind of have to dance a little bit until you know what the rules are and what's happening. So like I said, feel free to reach out. Happy to jump on a Zoom or a call with you and look at your listing.
Chris, on that point, because I don't know if a majority of people here have STRs, but since you manage tons of properties, how many times would you say you're running across that where people are trying to get over you or trying to get a refund or some sort, right? To just kind of give us a better perspective on how many times you'd kind of deal with that as an Airbnb owner.
I think in the beginning we dealt with it I don't want to say a good bit, maybe 2 or 3 times a month. I think what we've learned is setting the right expectations from the beginning. Some people shy away from this, and it's a running conversation in the mastermind that I'm part of. I always put the negative right up in their face on the listing. Like, here's the description, like the first little 2 paragraphs. Right below that, here's the negatives. We put it in the guest messaging 2 or 3 times. For example, we have a property up in Snoqualmie that's right on the road, and it's kind of noisy, but we explain that, hey, I-90 cuts right through Snoqualmie. This is in the woods, but it's by the highway. We explain that you're going to hear road noise. It's unavoidable. We had a guest explain, like, we want to leave, like, this is just so loud. And we explain, look, well, we understand, but we explain this to you. And so now we go back and change the verbiage, like, please, when someone books, we send a things like, thank you for booking. Can you please agree to the, house rules? And, we say it again. So I think oversaying this information is really great, because what happens is the people that aren't going to be bothered by that are going to book the property, and you don't want you don't want to try to hide it. It's like when we do photos with Ray, sometimes more recently, I'm starting to be like, I don't want to move a lot of the furniture like a regular real estate. I want to make it look bigger. I want to make it look exactly how it is. So when guests come, it's the same expectation. So I think more than anything, it's setting the right expectations from the beginning, with the bad, with the good, So that way the people that are booking aren't going to be like, oh, it looked like it was this. It looked like it was bigger, For example, we had a guest complain about this property, about the couch. And like I said, we are now putting in a larger couch, and we knew that. So I think it just goes back to making sure you have the negative expectations in front. But in the beginning, we had a good bit. Now we had one recent guest complain about, an unforeseen tub that broke. So we decided to, talk to the owner, and they were like, let's give them the full 1 day, and we made sure to explain, hey, look, Airbnb will go and give you 30%. But we decided to do this. So I think when you, under promise and over deliver and really explain, hey, here's what Airbnb is going to do. Here's what we're going to do for you. A lot of times we even say, look, if, we manage a bunch of properties, if you're ever interested in coming back, happy to give you 20% too. So we've mitigated a lot of those more recently, but in the beginning we were 2 or 3 a month sometimes.
But that's you managing tons of Airbnbs, right? I don't want people to get the wrong idea that per property you're going to get 2 to 3 a month. Just to give a perspective, for me on my properties, I only have 2 Airbnbs running. I would say 90% of my guest guys aren't trying to get over me and trying to screw me. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So I just don't want people to get scared away, but it does happen. And I think if you're prepared, like what Chris was saying, I think you'll be just fine.
Back to what Bill, he's saying, what I'm saying, it's opposite. Tax value is $200K, and his mom thinks I'll take that in a heartbeat. And then he adds in, I honestly don't think anyone in their right mind would give $200K, but that's the tax value.
So the tax value is over the value that he sees it at. I see. That's a tough one. That is a tough one.
And then he says, maybe it's a ploy to get you to feel good about paying taxes. Hey, I see Dion here. I know Dion went live today. I heard it was an interesting one, so I got to go check that out later. I heard he was dropping some F-bombs on there.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but he'll be on his trip also, I believe, on Tuesday. And if those haven't heard, I believe Zuber and Lumberjack will be filling in on his live stream on Tuesday. So it's going to be the same time, 4 p.m. Pacific. But Zuber and Lumberjack will be doing the live stream for him that day.
Can't wait to see the sponsors.
Let's see anything. Hey, I see Josh here tuning in. Paul Rink said he's going to be in Vegas.
As will I, Mark.
What?
As will I.
Fine. Well, you jumped off when you had your coconut wireless going, but Ray was asking if you were in Vegas for this last event, and of course
for year 2 I was not.
I told him already. You didn't show up.
For year 3 I'll be there.
Chris Price, do you know about this event? Has Ray filled you in about this event going on?
A little bit, but no, I've never been. I've been to a couple of the short-term rental and Bigger Pockets conferences this last year, but I haven't been to another one. But yeah, I'm open to joining.
Well, Wissing, you can start first. Give Price your spiel on what's your thoughts on the event, and should he be there, and what kind of takeaways can he get from attending the event in Vegas? You went both years, right? Wissing, you went 1 and 2. So what were your thoughts on them?
It's a great event. Just, we're all in this community, and the networking with just the names and the faces. We sit in these, in these rooms and chats and messages and everything else. And we finally start to really get a feel, FaceTime with some of these people. But then the speakers are getting better. Zuber's getting it bigger. And so there's a lot of impact that comes from him. And yeah, it's a great opportunity to get some good ideas and even just reinforcing some of the positions that you're in and talking to the experienced people, just like we're sitting here talking, and you get some good positive feedback. Are you making the right direction? Or in my case, I had a couple of people say, you're doing this, but what if you did this or tried this, or, just a couple of small tweaks, and it can make all the difference in the world. And it's just some of those aha moments. So
Wissing,
this year,
not Wissing. sorry, go ahead, finish up.
I was going to say this year I'm also bringing my teenager with me, and so he's jumping in. He's been helping me out side by side with a lot of these projects and learning and whatnot. So now he's coming in, showed interest in going to this year. So it'll be interesting to see his takeaway from it.
Yeah, very cool. I believe Hyder's son is also going again this year. Hyder's son was there last year. So for those of you tuning in, if you haven't heard, Zuber is offering 20 spots for kids, teenagers to attend free. So whatever ticket the parent purchases will be the kid will have the same ones. If you buy a VIP ticket, your kid will also be allowed in the VIP section and everything. They'll be free, and they also, I believe, Cody Davis is offering one-on-one time with him. So Cody is a Gen Z, very young and successful investor, and he's allowing a one-on-one time with these up to 20, I guess, kids, teenagers to have a sit down and talk about finance and life, I guess, and just maybe see where they're at. But Webb, what do you expect? You know, year one, you did miss year two. I know you got all the restaurants and food places you want to eat lined up, but what are you looking forward for year three?
Well, the food, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm actually I was very reserved in year one. So this year I'm really looking forward to meet some people that I've been able to kind of interact with online and actually see them in person. I think year one for me was more about a celebration for Mike and just seeing how the community was just built over time. I can remember just watching his videos as I'm baking cookies in the morning and just thinking to myself, one, I got to get out of this business. And two, anything I do from now on is in real estate. And I think maybe he had 13,000 followers at that time. And he got all, and then Dion challenged him for the 50. He got the 50. And I remember telling my wife, Rachel, I'm like, I think we're going to this. And she goes, we're absolutely going to it. You have been listening to him for so long. And so it was just more about that celebration and just like, wow, look at everything that he was able to develop just by using something like this. It's so crazy. And so I think this year is going to be more, or next year, excuse me, is going to be more about, hey, not only do I want to celebrate with Mike, but I want to celebrate with you guys. I want to be able to take Mark's Bears hat and throw it in the trash.
I'll give you
or
a
maybe
hand.
I'll give him. I'm going to give you some Patriots Crocs.
Ray, you were not there year one. You had a lot of reservation hesitation to attend the event. You did attend year two. Tell us about that a little bit.
Well, you know what? Like I started by meeting everybody at Tacoma Phi, and that's where Dion and his group of people were. And I actually joined that group for a whole year attending, and the great people I met there really made me excited and curious about going to Vegas. And what I realized was there was a much bigger community than what I was seeing here in Washington, right? And you know, when I actually attended, you know, I'm a social butterfly, okay? You guys know whoever was with me at like 2-3 o'clock in the morning, we're still freaking drinking. That's especially Mark over there. He's a little crazy, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, like I am excited because of the amazing people I got to meet, right? And for me, that's why I want to go, right? I want to meet Chris, I want to meet Wissing and Webb over there and kind of get to know their story a little bit more because, you know, yes, I care about real estate, but I really more care about what's driving you to get real estate, right? Why are you wanting financial freedom? Because we all have those whys, and that's more interesting to me than, you know, you owning a duplex or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Chris Price, it sounds like Ray just said you're going. That's what I took out of it. I heard him say,
I'm always open to networking, and you know, Wissing, you know, you mentioned that side of it, and I think the conferences that I've been to, Bigger Pockets this year in Vegas, I've been in Nashville for the Wealth Con for STR Secrets, and you know, we all mention it in different ways of meeting people like this. And you know, I followed, you know, somebody 3 years ago on Instagram, randomly saw a reel about mindset, about like, financial freedom, what it really means. And he was doing it through short-term rentals, and I wanted to go that route. And I eventually got to meet him at the conference. And it was like, I've met some really close friends from going to these conferences. A good friend of mine, Karen Masters, actually came and spoke at my meetup last month. So I think like, I love the idea of these, conferences, and like the networking is huge. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun event. I think everyone is looking forward to it. Year one definitely was a celebration, right? Like I said, Zuber hit the 50,000 subscribers. It was a little bit different. Year two, like I tell everyone, I wasn't as excited to go to. It was a little bit different feel, but after going, yeah, year two was a lot more fun, and I think year three is going to be super exciting. I think part of it is because of the school community also too. Everyone is just growing together, and everyone is already knows each other somewhat, and so now just going to the event, everyone.
How many people are in school right now?
Yeah, I was gonna say, actually, only 2 people on this panel here today are in school officially. I know others are they participate in a lot of the school activities. Let me check. I'll give you a live update.
Oh God.
We are.
I want to make sure that I'm number 500, so I don't have to change my name to trade that at 499.
We are at 4. Oh, it went down. Somebody must have not.
What?
We're at 4. We're at 492. It was at 493 earlier today, so someone may not have renewed their membership. But we're at 492, and once again, if those haven't heard, Zuber said once he hits 500, he'll be offering he's going to do a nighttime live or Zoom with a bunch of the millionaires on his panel. So whoever he can round up will be on the call, and he's also going to open up the how to get your money right course for free once he gets to 500 members in there. And it's only $20 a month. I'm still sponsoring people's first month. So Ray and Webb, yes, I'll sponsor you guys if you want. But
Oh, hey, I do have the person I shot for the Vashon Castle. She's looking for a community, and I told her to reach out to you, and she might even be watching this live stream. If you are, Jolie, definitely join our community. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, it's a great place. Wissing, you're going to say something?
No, I was going to say, Mark, you and I have been doing this. We met at the first event, and
I couldn't get rid of you after that.
Feelings mutual. So look at the growth, and just look at what some of us have gone through, just the long haulers that have been in this community for the last 3-4 years. Look at where we were compared to where we're at, and that's a great thing about this community is it's all the people kind of starting out, the entry levels. Some of us have grown, and at some point we'll grow beyond and go to that next level. But anybody that's getting into this is it's a great place to start. It's a great information source. So
yeah,
I will say that even like we were talking about networking, but even a 2-minute conversation that I had with Matt Lumberjack in year 1 saves me a ton of money. And he knows that. I tell him that every time I can about how that saved me. It saved me thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars. And it was about a stupid roof on a house that was built in like 1800s. And I would have never have known that, but I just happened to be there. I recently acquired the property, and I'm like, hey, what am I supposed to do about this? And he just gave me a quick tip, because he used to do those lives, right, where you would ask questions. He might even still do them, but I have very limited time to watch it on the weekends. And I mean, that was such a blessing at that time, and it really helped me propel this trajectory that I was on. So it's just excellent. And then one last thing about that was one thing, and then the other thing, I see a lot of the people that were commenting even before the first event and how they're growing over this time. And I think that's right what you're saying. Listen,
Mhm. Oh yeah.
It's fantastic to see.
Yeah, it is. It's, because it helps all of us as a whole.
Right.
We're all trying to do the work. We're all trying to figure it out. And yeah, Matt did the same thing with me on the first year at that first event, and he's been doing it long enough, and he's done so much. He can literally plant a seed within seconds, and just he knows where you're at, and boom, he can give you a quick tip that can just change your whole trajectory on things.
Yeah.
Dion's the same way. I was thankful sitting with him last year and had a great conversation with him, and just little tidbits and little tweaks that those guys can offer. It's invaluable. That's the real value is picking up those little nuggets. So
You know what I found is just seeing being around all these investors, and everybody are action takers, right? If you look at the ORAT community, we have doers in this group, right? And the doers share their experiences and share their wins, share their losses. And when you see enough action takers, you can't help but to be one yourself. You know what I mean? And that's why I truly love this group, right? And that's why I go to the Tacoma 5 meetups on a regular basis, because I see the action takers, and it just keeps motivating me and keeps putting the fire in me. Even if I'm not actively looking for a deal, it just keeps it front of mind.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I think the super helpful thing too is, and like I said, it was kind of the main direction we're going to start off with, is it's just kind of controlling the noise or controlling the chaos, right? And that's kind of what this whole community is all about, and even these live streams is just seeing that it's not all this. Not everyone is buying properties no money down, and not everyone is just. It's not just easy, and there's no hard work behind it, right? So a lot of people in this community, they talk about their struggles, and I believe Frank, Old Guy REI, will be live streaming at 1 p.m. Pacific, and he's very transparent about the struggle. And this year's been a rough year for him, right? So he's even selling off a property that has been kind of a headache for them. It's called the Pew Pew Lady House, or I don't want to get banned on YouTube, but the tenant, anyways, issues, and they got it rehabbed and fixed, and while they were waiting for Section 8, it got broken into, and you got basically trashed again, right? So they're pivoting, and they're deciding to sell it off and maybe get rid of a problem, and maybe sometimes you got to take a step backwards a little bit, right, and refocus and regather. Let's see. Yeah, All Nighter Hider does say Lumberjack goes live Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, and he said he may add another show. I do want to talk to him. I'm wondering if I could try to coordinate something with him, because I actually want to get into a card show live stream with him.
I heard about that today, and I'm like, because I just found my cards when I pulled them out, and I'm like, I wonder how much these things are worth.
Not gift card, not food gift cards now, not restaurant gift card. I'm talking like sports trading cards.
That's what I'm talking about too.
No, but yeah, he just went to Canada, right, to go to a big card convention, and like he's saying, it was just no standing. I mean, it was just super crowded. There's no place to eat, and people are spending money out there. So even though a lot of noise and talk about the economy being bad, there is people still out there with money.
That's a good question
and
for
spending
us,
money, right? Yeah,
I went to the mall recently. I don't think it was as busy as it was last year. Lynchburg is a little weird. I think that we're behind a lot of things, but it wasn't significantly less, but it was noticeably less, maybe 10-15% less people, in my opinion, shuffling around.
I do want to quickly give a shout out to John Litz, Deconstructing Dreams here. He's been driving. He has a lot of health issues recently. He had a detached retina. He's doing a lot of work. He has an Airbnb also in Reno. I'll put his channel in the chat so you can go check that out. And Chris Price, that'll be a cool property for you to maybe take a look at and maybe give John some feedback on it. But
yeah, happy
here is John's YouTube channel. he's doing some cool stuff out there. He's actually working on a ADU portion now that he's trying to get up to speed. But his Airbnb is very cool, man. He has it very themed out, and he used the VR goggles to get some work
That's
done on
cool.
some. Yeah, it's very cool. And he's not a spring chicken. He's an old dude. So I'm amazed that he's trying the VR and getting all that stuff done. So that I love that, getting out of your comfort zone, right? Let's see. Anything else you guys want to dig in? We can go any direction from here. Anything else you guys want to focus on? I know whistling. Is there stuff that you want to touch on, like what you're working on? So maybe quickly, if you don't have anything, what's the YouTube channel? Because I know you've been posting a lot more, right? So you kind of been sharing your story. Is it more focused on your story, or kind of you and your son? That's why what you're working on.
It's right now. It's just kind of a hybrid of everything. As I started doing this last renovation, I got in. I started just videoing the progress, and had a couple of those videos sitting there because I wanted to document it, because I've done a few of these now where I wish I had done more than just photographs, and I just never really thought to video it. So I I took those videos and I started posting them. Well, then as I've been sitting there working on my place, I thought, well, I'll add to this, and then we got into my kids' room. The boys help me when we're doing some of this stuff, so uh, I just videoed a couple of things. It's like, here, let's do an outlet. Let's do this. So it's just kind of a combination of everything. And now, as I'm going into the ADU project, I'm going to do more video documenting on it. Do some of the demo, showing that, working with some of the guys that are coming in to help me on it, and just get some updates, and just kind of, I'm just trying to build something. Cell phone, nothing else, just basic basic stuff. So
John Litz is getting feisty in the chat. He said we can wrestle anytime you feel froggy with an old dude. I just promoted your YouTube channel, dude. I told get some professional eyes from Chris Price on it, and he can give you some feedback on it. But yeah, check out Wissing's channel. Like I said, you're putting out more content recently. I love what you're doing on that. So, how many
appreciate it.
subscribers are you at? Are we at 50 yet? I don't know. I haven't looked recently.
I'm not at 50 yet. Actually, let me just see if I can pull it up. So I'm at 27 right now here, and I just really started this probably the last, I don't know, 2.5 weeks. I think I'm at right around 13,000 views in the last 2
Nice,
weeks.
man. Yeah.
So
I just subscribed. There goes another one.
All right, let's get him to
Awesome.
30 at least.
I got
30
him
or
at
35.
30, so.
Oh, okay.
yeah, I'd like to get it up to 50 by the end of the year. I think that'd be a good goal to get. So
Cool. Bill is back. He said he had to hit Napa before they closed, but he's back. You didn't miss much. Just us talking about the one rental at a time event coming up in February in Vegas. I don't know. Was there more to your question? I don't know if there was anything else with your question you're asking about. I think we got to most of it.
He was with the 200,000, right? Is that
Yes, he was talking about the tax stuff.
I was just saying that's a tough spot. If the value is below the tax amount, the tax assessment, that's tough, man. That's just tough. I think somebody because if I remember back, somebody in the comments said you can't fight City Hall.
That is right. Yes. Looks like you're at 32 now. Hyder got you at 32 Wissing, so you're moving up there, man.
awesome.
We'll get you to 50 easily by the end of the year.
Heck yeah.
Hey, I appreciate it.
Well, you know what? I think it was Dion. Maybe Dion challenged Jack last year to get to 100 by the time the Vegas event ends. So that's also your goal when you talk to people. You go and you talk to them, you're networking, and you get them to subscribe to your channel. So that will make that. So by the end of the Vegas event, let's get you to 100 subscribers on your channel. We'll make that.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. No, that's awesome.
I got you're at 34 now.
Damn. Don't forget to subscribe to mine too, people, if you haven't. You know,
They're moving over.
Let's not skip over that fact. Don't just jump, you know. But let's see. John Litt says, by the way, I have a post in school showing the process on building the ADU, but you have to be a member to see them. Oh, see, shots fired. We got let's see, there's only 40% of us here in school.
Oh god.
I am joining.
Yeah, typical all talk. Patriots fan, all talk, just chirping.
We can talk a lot this year.
You know, you see the hat Chris Price is wearing, right?
Yeah, the Lee's here.
Oh yeah.
Didn't they beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl? No,
Catch.
Not catch. Yeah. So let's. Yasik is saying. Let's do everyone at the event should be subscribed to your channel. He's saying, listening. I think that
have
there we go.
code that you can do.
Well, so that was one
That'd be pretty
suggestion
slick.
from last year, right? Someone was asking to get like a board or something, right, and have everyone's channels or QR codes that you walk in and you can just like, subscribe to everyone's channel or something. I know that was mentioned last year. I'm not, we'll let Jen know that she needs to put that together for the event.
Maybe what we should do is put proof of joining before they can get admitted into the show.
Well, if you and Yasik and like Curtis, if some big dudes are at the door, I'm sure we'll get everyone to subscribe to everyone's channels.
Something that I do at a lot of these conferences when someone's like, "Hey, like, give me your contact information." What I do is on my home screen, I change it to like I just use Instagram, but like you can make it actually show up on your phone, so that way you can just like it's your lock screen. So if you want to, get a QR code made for your YouTube and then put it on your lock screen, that way when someone asks you just show them the QR code and they can scan it right from your phone.
Okay.
What app is that?
I like that idea.
So you can go and I think I did free QR, creator,
Okay.
and I put my Instagram. You can put whatever you want, YouTube, and then it'll link it right to there. And then you just go to change the lock screen on your phone, and then you can create a new one. You can customize it or not customize. You can create a new one, and then you can add the QR code right from there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Don't put your OnlyFans there, Wissing. your bodybuilding OnlyFans page or something.
Come on now.
But there is a question for you, Wiss. It says, tell us about the drug house you bought. Could I see if the sellers of these places are on anything? But seriously, Texas doesn't auction your house for taxes here. How to find cheap properties?
Okay, so two things on it. One, you got to understand cheap doesn't mean good. And that cheap can cost you everything real quick with a house. And I went through that in one of my places where there was, even though we had inspected, there was hidden damage, and it turned out to be some pretty major issues where by the time we were done, I mean, I was at my end on that place where I was probably a couple of months at best from putting it up for sale because I was just, it was doing everything it could to sink me. So be careful of getting it for cheap. If you're going to do it on your own, if you have those abilities, that's one thing. You have people that you trust that can do it. Yeah. So that's my caution on buying cheap. Everybody wants a cheap house because they're scared of the price, but it can cost you more in the long run. As far as finding them, the first one that I got was pre-COVID. It was a foreclosure, and I just happened to find a foreclosure listing on it, just out on the open market. And a friend of mine was a realtor, and I said, "Hey, let's go take a look at this." And it happened to be just a half mile from where I live. So I went and looked at it, and I just got excited and said, "Yeah, I want to buy it." I didn't know that we were going to have a huge pandemic coming, and I didn't know that the market was going to do what it did. But that house And I didn't even know at the time what a burr was, but that's kind of what I did with that house. And I borrowed the money out of my retirement. I bought the house. It had to be a cash deal. And I was able to renovate it, get it done, refinance it, left a little bit on the table, considered that the down payment as if I was to buy the house. And it just, the blind hog gets an acorn on it. It just worked out, but I was able to replenish the money and keep going with it. This last one that I did, I ended up finding from a wholesaler, and actually through the school community. They reached out to me. They're from out of the area. They bought it, knew that I was in the area. They got a hold of me, said, "Hey, you're in the area. I've got something that we're going to get rid of. Go take a look at it." Worked with them, and because I know the area, I know the markets, I know what's going on, I was able to talk with them and work out a deal. It worked out for both of us, and the rest is history. So those are the things to do. All those signs where you get into these cities where it's, we buy homes. They're wholesalers. Call them up. Say, "Hey, I'm not looking to sell, but what do you have that you're selling?" You might be able to, scratch a deal together. But a lot of those houses, people are getting rid of them because they're the only ones they can get rid of them too. And the wholesaler's taking the risk. So some of them are going to be pretty beat up, and a lot of times they're going to be a cash deal. So look at foreclosures, look at that stuff, but don't just get it because it's cheap.
Chris, can I ask you a question on that? Like, for me, now that I've done these rehabs on these homes, there's things that I feel like I want to avoid, and I'm just curious, like, what are things that you're just like, oh hell no, I'm not gonna play with that ever again? You know what I mean?
God, I mean, now it's like I said, that one that I got, that was the hoarder house. That one stung me really hard, where pretty much anything that could go wrong did. So now my eyes are opened up to how much work something can take. So I'm staying away from things that have major, either water damage or pet damage, things like that. I had a house that I had to go down to the dirt. You could stand in the driveway and you could look through the house and see the next door neighbor's house completely, because there was no siding, no interior walls, no floor, nothing. We had to completely gut it to get rid of the smell because it was so bad. So certain things like that, you find where your limits are. I'd like to scale back from doing that major of a rehab again and just stick with it needs a roof. It needs a kitchen, a bathroom, bathrooms I pretty much assume are going to be, a full gut. I'm probably going to have to go down in the subfloor, do some joist repair, things like that. That just happens in some of these older homes.
Yeah.
But I expect that now. So it's sometimes you have to go through those hard ones and then find your limits. So, but yeah, I think for me, it's the major demo.
Can I add to that? Like, for me, what I've realized is after doing these gut jobs, new roof, new siding, new bathrooms, new plumbing, all that crap, right? I kind of want my next deal to be a little bit more just lipstick, like, just put some new trim, get some paint, maybe get some new appliances.
Yeah.
Like yes, the deals are great, right? Because you're generally getting a lot of great return and equity on these kind of rehabs, but
Right.
just the peace of mind, man, sometimes that's more important. You know what I mean? Because some of these projects stress me the hell out. You know what I mean? So,
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
Can I ask a question about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask: are there lipsticks where you are?
Are you talking to me or are you talking to Chris? I'm sorry.
I think I'm cutting in and out. I just wanted to ask, are there lipsticks where
In my area, I mean, there's always something, and it depends on, what level. We all have a different level of what we're gonna do. For some people, the lipstick is maybe just some, new hardware and paint. For other people, like this last project that I did, for me, it was a lipstick deal because it was flooring, it was gutting a kitchen, some sheetrock work, gutting a bathroom, um, and I put a roof on it. To me, that was a lipstick compared to the last one.
well, if you're fixing floor joists?
Well, I'll tell you what, if you make it out to Vegas, I'll show you pictures of it, of the last one that I did, and you'll understand where I'm coming from on it. It was a nightmare. So this one was easy, and this one was kind of that redemption of my learning curve on the last one, where, okay, this is what I did. This is where I overdid, and it was just, I bit off more than I could chew, and it did everything it could to show me the lessons, and I came through it. So this one, I took those lessons and really applied it. So this one has actually been a fun project kind of the whole way through, and was able to get the right help to come in. And I mean, we redid plumbing. I had the boys underneath the house. A friend of mine's a plumber, and he's like, I really don't want to crawl under the house. I said, good, I've got 2 kids that'll do it. He's like, let's do this. And I did. The boys were under, and they were like little raccoons scurrying around underneath the house, just having a great time. So the whole house got all new PEX put in it, and they had a blast underneath there, and just doing their thing. They thought it was fun as hell. So it was those moments.
And I also wonder if I'm like the sellers that we're talking about, where the lipstick flip to me is what it was 4 or 5 years ago, and what you're telling me is what it is today.
You've got to dig a little deeper, because, well, how many TV shows have we seen over the last 10 years? How many videos have we seen over the last 10 years where it's, I made this, I flipped this house, I had it, you go in, you got a TV show and like, oh, we're going in, we're going to flip this house and we're going to pretty it up and we're going to do it in 7 days and make $100,000. That stuff got played out. Now you got to start touching the things that people don't want to touch. I kind of have fun with some of these houses. Of course, I've got training in, some hazmat situations and cleanup and things like that. I've had to clean up the properties and have a 5-gallon bucket of needles that I've taken out.
Wow.
I've had to clean up the properties where you wore a respirator for 3 months until it was gutted out because it was that bad. This place, I had a bullet hole in a window and I found a tooth in the carpet. Like that to me, that was a cakewalk. So, it's adventures in home rehabs. So
I know you sent me the picture of the tooth, and I was like, "What is that? Like, what are you sending me?"
Yep.
But Hyder does put bird light, like Millennial Mike says. This is Yasik saying. A lot of times, if you tune into some of the accountability calls, Yasik is there. He's always taking easy $1 over a hard $2 every day. And Dion is here, and he says, the burr, buy, rehab, rent, refinance, regret. I think too many people don't know about the last R.
Yes.
And then back to Bill. Bill does say, the way it seems here, the 250K houses are going to sink you. So I feel like cheap wouldn't hurt so bad. Let's see.
I mean, Bill's got to know his market. He's got to know, what he's got to understand. What can I get this house for? What are my true costs going to be in there? And then what's my value after? If that all makes sense, as long as your investment, and only you are going to know those numbers, and only you can structure that deal. Are you going to put 50% in to make it cash flow, or are you going to put 10% in? How are you structuring that deal? And only you know that. You've got to know your market.
So is part of being able to buy those types of properties, Chris was saying, you have to be yoked? Is that you have to be as big as you?
You strong arming them into doing it.
No, but
You're gonna sell it
but
around?
I will say this. It has helped me in situations where some of the, I guess, former guests or repeat clients were coming back to visit. They didn't understand and know that the door was closed, and that business was shut down. That's helped. They kind of understand they just need to depart and be done. But all joking aside, when I go into these houses, I also go and I meet the neighbors and I talk to them, and I'm very upfront. Here's what I'm doing. Here's what I'm gonna do. And I see the eye rolls, or I get the congratulations, or lots of lucks, or whatever. Then I start bringing those neighbors in after the house is completed, and I let them see what's been done, and I try to build that community back, and that really helps out. And then all of a sudden, I've got neighbors coming to me going, "Hey, I know somebody who's looking for a place. Well, here's the link. Here's where they can go, or here's what they can look it up on." So I think that really helps because now they're seeing somebody caring. It's not just a fly by night. It's not some corporation. It's not anything else. It's me, my kids, and some workers that I bring in, and I listen to the neighbors. I try to help where I can, what I can, and work with them. Hey, this tree is overhanging. Can you trim it up? Yeah, sure, not a problem. Um, Things like that, and I let them be a part of it so that they know it's not just a lipstick on a pig kind of deal, and that somebody does care about their neighborhood because they are living there. They are making those mortgage payments just like I am, but I'm not living there. So those are some of the things that I try to talk about.
All right, so John Litz does say Burr often makes a second deal into an alligator because they take too much money back out. And Yasik says, I always wonder what is the true cost on the mental health in the long run from all those birds that no one talks about. Yeah, and it looks like, this is a good web got to run anyway, so it looks like a good place to maybe wrap things up. Any final words from you guys? Do you think Ray, you be in school soon? Web, right? I'm gonna throw it out there one more time.
There will be.
My final word is just like, if you guys are in the Washington area or you're visiting, make sure you guys check out Chris's group over there at STR Society, man. Like, he's doing some amazing things, bringing us STR people together. And Chris, if you want to talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
Was that the thing that you just went to also, Ray? Was that the event you? Okay, yeah, you had some great pictures. I saw that. A great event. So can they reach out to you at this Instagram page that I have here?
Yeah, they can. I think I sent it to Ray too, but it's a meetup link. We do a monthly meetup. We bring in so many different people. We had someone coming this next in December. We're skipping November. In December, that is all about pricing, revenue management, understanding your pricing. We have designers. We had another property manager come from Sacramento, Yosemite area, and learning. So we do it monthly. If anybody wants, they can either reach out via the Instagram or I think I sent the Facebook link as well as the meetup.
I sent it to Mark. Mark, I sent you those links in your email if you want to post it into the chat.
Yeah. If anyone's in the greater Seattle area, we do them once a month. It's a rooftop, we've got views of downtown Lake Union and the Space Needle. So it's a fun little spot.
Looks like Paul Rink will be there. Hold on. Let me put, there's one of them. Hold on. And there is the Facebook link. All right. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for that.
I don't know. John just wants you. He misses you, I think, Ray. John is just calling you out, man.
He's calling me out.
He says Ray can afford to travel everywhere taking excellent pictures. He can afford $20 for school.
Damn, bro. Hey, is the stream ending soon or what?
But yeah, thank you guys for doing this. It's always fun. I'm glad I got you on. Wishing I know I will get you to 100 subscribers by the end of the event, right?
Appreciate
That'll
it.
be the goal, man. So we'll get
Yeah.
you there. Even Ray, your channel kind of slowed. I think you're just busy on the other side, Ray, right? You're just
Yeah.
your business is taking too much time
Yeah.
for you right now.
Yep.
But yeah, thanks for doing this. Any final words? I know Webb, you didn't get a chance. Any final words from you, Ray? No.
No, well,
Know your market. That's all I would say.
There you
I
go.
did want to say the other Chris's, Chris Webb and Chris Wissing, dude. I'm glad that we got to talk more, and hopefully when we're in Vegas, we get to chat even more, get to know each other. And be careful. Last one, be careful talking to Jason because he called me and then we were on the phone for 3.5 hours. So that guy is a little crazy on the chatty side. Okay.
Yep, and if you are going to be in Vegas, don't forget Dion and Millennium Mike have their Wednesday, Tuesday. Denny's at a midnight meetup. Brandon Potts will have his Friday. He's going to start a coffee meetup Friday morning.
I'm there.
And I'm probably going to put together a Pittsburgh meetup for the people that are coming out from Pittsburgh that we work with. So people don't want to meet with those folks. But yeah, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Like I said, Frank, Old Guy REI, will be going live at 1 p.m. Pacific today. So go check that out if you can. Show some support there. But everyone else, have a great rest of the weekend.
Awesome.